Hi everybody, my name is Melissa and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to have two parts of this video. The first one is my July wrap up. Well, that's technically the second part. The first part is in the middle of the month I got a genius idea because I have been super struggling with reading lately, and I figured I would go through other booktubers' wonderful mid-year book freakout tags and find out the best books that they read for the year and read those books. And those are the first books I'm going to talk about, and a lot of these, the booktubers that I looked at, they actually chose the same book, so I have multiple booktubers to talk about for the same books. But yeah, I read a total of, let me just double check, I read a total of 12 books this past month. I was about to say summer, it's still summer. I read a total of 12 books this past month, and I feel like I'm kind of getting back into reading again. It's been a very long time since I've been super active on my social media. It's been a very long time since I've been uploading any videos, and I'm finally feeling like reading again, so I can finally start filming videos about reading, because like I said in my mid-year book freakout tag, as a booktuber, it's hard to make content if you're not reading, and there's only so many times you can talk about the same books over and over. So let's go ahead and get started. So the very first book that I'm going to talk about was recommended by the amazing and absolutely fabulous Jess from Peace Love Books. Every single time I get a recommendation from her, I feel like I am never ever let down. She always knows her romance books. She always recommends some great ones, and I'm sure you've already heard about her if you're on this channel. But basically, I absolutely loved the series that she recommended, and that is The Risk, which is the first book in the series. I am currently on book 3 by St. Abby, and this one is a dark male-female romance book, and let me tell you, it's one that I feel like is going to be one of my favorite series, let's just say. Because if you don't know my taste in dark romances, the darker the better, and this book kind of flips it on its head, where instead of the guy being the, you know, crazy murderer, the girl is the serial killer and the guy is the FBI agent who is assigned to her case. So little does he know that she is the one that he's actually after. There are other cases and other serial killers that are popping up and kind of, you know, making things exciting. Book 2 leaves off on a super crazy cliffhanger, and I immediately picked up the next book, and yeah, flying through this series, I am loving it so far. So the next book is a book that was recommended by Riley Marie and Mina Reads. So both of these ladies have absolutely fabulous taste in romance books as well. This is one that I kind of went in not really knowing too much. It was kind of, I believe, a Dracula type book, except instead of it being about Dracula, it was about Dracula's brides. And let me tell you, I freaking loved it. A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson was one that I could not put down. The way that this author wrote this book, the way that the prose were, oh my gosh, it was so good. I don't think I've ever highlighted a book so much as I did in this book. I freaking loved it, obviously, if you can't tell. This book had gothic vibes, polyamorous relationships. So much was going on in this book, and it was just dealt in such a wonderful way. The author just described and made it so atmospheric that I just like, I was loving every moment of it. This book is told in kind of a letter form series, in a way, kind of like a diary entry, and she never gives him a name. She always just refers to as him or he, basically, and not giving power to this person by giving him a name. The first bride, Constantina, I think I'm saying that right, is the first bride, and she believes that she is absolutely special, but eventually he gains other brides, and she just realizes and sees what it's doing, and she's not the strongest person, and it's so interesting to see. And there's grooming that's involved with the way that he handles his brides and all of that. It was so good. The main character just had a constant inner turmoil that just had me hooked and just wanting to find out what was going to happen next, and find out, You know, is she gonna finally snap and lose it, or is she just going to keep dealing with the crap that he is dealing her and all of that stuff? But yeah, it was very, very interesting. I absolutely love it. I definitely want to pick up more from this author because of the way that it was written. I'm really excited to find out how the other books get on. So the next book I'm going to talk about is one that was recommended by 2 other booktubers as well, and that is Books by Chloe and This Story Ain't Over. It's one of my favorite books. I've already talked about it, and that is Yolk by Mary H.K. Choi. So I think this was such a great idea, doing this kind of watch other booktubers favorite books of the year and pick them up and read them, because I feel like I found some new favorite books, some new favorite authors, and all 3 of the books that I picked up for this kind of challenge really just hit home for me. This one right here is, there's so many different triggers that are associated with this book, but it's definitely one that I feel like I wish I had when I was in my new adult age. It definitely is more new adult than young adult. It has some pretty hard-hitting topics, to be quite honest. Eating disorders, just to name one of the many. So Jane, our main character, is one that is completely flawed. I just felt like I was rooting for her, even though she is not the most perfect person. She is just one who seems very lost, and I just felt like she was like super relatable, to be quite honest. And I'm not talking about this book very well, but yes, it was one that I kind of was seeing from the very beginning and really wanting to just follow her and see where her journey led, and it kind of gives you hope for the future, basically. Family dynamics play a huge role in this book. Jane and her sister June moved from their town in Texas to New York, and honestly haven't spoken in years, until her sister's cancer basically brings them together in the most awful way possible. Because, you know, let's be real, it's such a hard topic to discuss, and I feel like this book did such a lovely job kind of dealing with these issues, and in such a real way too, and didn't sugarcoat a lot of it. So the ending of this book does leave you hanging, so if that's a kind of thing that you don't like in books, be aware. But I really found that the ending really just kind of reflected what was in the rest of the book, and kind of true to life, and just made this book even better. And I think that's why I liked the ending so much. And definitely 5 stars if you haven't guessed. Loved this one, and I will be remembering it for a very, very long time. The next book that I read had nothing to do with the kind of challenge I did over this past month. This was one of the first books that I read, and it's one that I just didn't really care too much. I give it 3 stars, kind of average, honestly. Don't really remember too much. It's a paranormal reverse harem book called A Tempest of Shadows by Jane Washington. And normally I do like this author's writing. For some reason this one just didn't hit home with me. And looking through the rest of the people who rated this book, it wasn't rated too high. And I don't think I'll be continuing on with the series. Hello, and editing Melissa here. Basically, I totally forgot to talk about 2 other books that I read by the same author in the same series by one of my favorite authors, C.M. Wondrak. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I could be totally wrong. Basically, I had talked about this series in a video I filmed before, so I had assumed I had talked about this already. Basically, I read the first 2 books in this series. I really, really enjoyed it, and continuing on with the 3rd one at this time. And yeah, pretty much it's a dark reverse harem romance, and it's about this girl whose family has been murdered. She's the last one that's alive. It's a revenge story. She's there to get her revenge and ends up falling for these guys, as it usually goes. But yeah, basically I had a lot of fun reading the first 2 books. I gave the first one 5 stars. Really, really enjoyed it. I can't believe I totally forgot to talk about these 2 books. Sorry, my hand's a little shaky. All right, back to filming, Melissa. So the next book, or series rather, that I read was the first 3 books in the Wolf Girl series by Leah Stone. It is not a paranormal reverse harem romance. I know, it's paranormal male-female romance. Whoa, look out, who am I? Basically, this is about a girl who has no idea what kind of wolf she can transition to, because she never has before. It was a ton of fun. I flew through these books all 3 in about a day, and yeah, had a lot of fun. I think the 4th book is already out, if I'm not mistaken. I need to pick it up and finish this series. I'm not sure if it continues on after 4 books, but yeah. definitely one that I did enjoy, and I think I gave them like an average 3.5, 4-star rating. So this is the last Kindle Unlimited book on my last month's reading, and that is by C.M. Stunich, and it's called Stolen Crush. It is the first book in a series, and let's just say, take it with a grain of salt. This girl, she has been kidnapped, and she is the daughter of a famous like crime novelist, and I don't know, it was kind of hard to really believe it. It's a reverse harem, has 3 male leads, I believe, that she is interested in, and at least 2 are interested in her that we know of so far, so I can definitely see that this kind of becoming a lot bigger as the series goes on. She is not the most likable character, to be quite honest, at least in my opinion. I just found her to be very immature, but again, I've never gone through anything like that, so who am I to say? And she definitely acts like a typical teenager, you know, reacting very emotionally to the situation that she is in. So I did have a lot of fun while reading it. It is quite a long book. It just felt like it could have been broken up a little bit. I probably will maybe pick up book 2 whenever it comes out, and I do like this author's writing, so we shall see. And a book that I literally finished this morning, or rather last night, kind of this morning, like late into the evening, and that is Anna K by Ginny Lee. This is a book that I talked about in my mid-year book freakout tag, and I'm so happy that I ended up finishing it in literally a week. I took my time again with this book. I didn't highlight anything, but I did have a lot of fun. This is kind of like Gossip Girl meets Anna Karenina. I've never read the book, but I have watched the movie a very long time ago and totally forgot what happened in the movie. This is definitely one that I wasn't really expecting. I didn't really know too much going into it what it was about. I just had seen it a lot floating around BookTube last year, and I picked it up when I picked up Yolk from the same place, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this one a try. It looks cute, it looks fun. I've been loving my Asian dramas. This one was one that looked cute and funny. I started reading the first couple pages and fell in love with the humor and the way that these hard topics were being discussed. It's a book that has a very interesting way of telling it. It's a different, all the characters, you can kind of read what they're thinking at the time that everything's happening. So I feel like I had to pay a little bit more attention to the book because it was told in a different way that I'm used to reading. I did really enjoy it. The ending kind of was like, whoa, oh my gosh, I was not expecting that. I'm not really sure if I'm going to continue on to the next book, which I believe is already out, just because of that ending, to be quite honest. But yeah, if you like Gossip Girl, if you like, you know, all the like designers and rich New York kids and just kind of dealing with some really hard topics at the same time where everybody's having a lot of fun, but life is hard at the same time, definitely pick this one up then. I think I gave this book about 3.5, 4 stars. Alrighty guys, so that is it for my July wrap up. I read a total of 12 books, which, I mean, pretty much makes up almost half of my reading of the year so far. I am still behind on my Goodreads reading goal, sadly, but I'm slowly making my way there. I want to still hit my goal of 75, if not reach 100, which I feel like I can do. I'm finally getting back into my reading again. And if you have read any of these books or have any thoughts or opinions or recommendations for me, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. And I hope you have a great day and happy reading. Bye.